Welcome to this point of view by Havenger Systems. The point of view series aims at addressing most frequently asked questions in HR tech, backed by Havenger's own research and experience in this area. My name is Jomi John, and this point of view discusses the three integration methods for building a strong data driven HR organization. And joining me would be Shrikant Patatil, who would be my co host for this session. He recently did a really cool webcast at HR.com, which spoke about scalable integrations for enterprises. And hopefully, he has brought us some really cool stories from there too. Welcome, Shrikant.
Hey, thanks, Jomi. Thanks for uh, creating that pressure on me. I have to remember everything from that webcast. So I'll try my best and look forward to being a part of this point of view.
Great. But one thing I remember for sure from that webcast was this statistic about integrations in particular, where Gartner says that in this age of accelerated digital transformations, integrations makes up for 50% of the total time and effort to build an integration. I knew integrations were important, but this statistic totally blew me away.
Yeah, Jomi, that's pretty interesting. Not just the Gartner research, but apparently almost all enterprises are looking for products that are well integrated or could be well integrated in their ecosystem. So it's not just from the point of view of workflow integrations, like automating that workflow, but also they are thinking about um, how to make it more useful for the data analytics. So once you have a great integration done, it also helps you in data integration. So that's what I learned through that webcast. And we also have Mahesh here, and this would be a right time to bring him in. He is the expert from our side who has built multiple integrations, and he can help us talk through many of his experience. So welcome, Mahesh.
Hey, thanks, Shrikant. Glad to be here today.
Cool. So since you're here, one of the things that we wanted to understand from you, because you have a lot of experience actually implementing these integrations for enterprises, how are these top three approaches that we had outlined in the webcast, uh, the build, open source, and buy options, and how have you used that in your experience? Can you share some thoughts on that?
Sure, Shrikant. I think we have seen this when we worked with enterprises, right, where they make use of different techniques and approaches to address their integration needs. And if we look at like these different approaches, I think there are certain patterns, and I think that's what is coming out as like top three approaches or methods that are used for these integrations. And I think we can look at them through a particular integration scenario and understand them better. So, to start with, let's say typically an organization can start with three or four applications to manage their workforce. And that's where they usually use ATS, which sort of helps them in hiring activities. HRIS platforms are used as a system of records, and then payroll specific applications and so on. Now, as these applications cannot be used in silos, I think that's where they sort of integrate them, and primarily they go with vendors who would sort of help them build integrations between these platforms. Or sometimes they try to use ready connectors which are easily available in the market and can get them quickly have that integration problem solved. But as these enterprises grow, their needs also evolve and lead to an addition of more applications, say like an addition of continuous performance management system or an employee engagement platform gets added to their ecosystem and so on. Now, as these integrations or the number of applications are increasing, I think the overall integration needs are also increasing, and they become more and more complex as time go by. And I think that's where they turn to the integration platforms like MuleSoft, Delboomi, or even open source options like WSO2 to solve their integration problems. And I mean, that's the trend that we are observing. And I think it has got a new name over the last couple of years, which is now being referred as iPaaS, which is integration platform as a service offering that has come into the market.
Great, great. Thanks for sharing that. And so integration platform as a service, and I'm also hearing that quite a bit. And uh, can you elaborate a little bit more about your experience with iPaaS?
Sure, Shrikant. I think they are becoming more and more popular for certain reasons. But I think one of the key advantage that iPaaS offers is availability of ready connectors. For example, an ready connector with platform like Workday, which is one of the leading provider for HRIS or HR applications, or a Salesforce connector, which is I think is the leading provider for CRM space and so on. So they have tried to come up with ready connectors for the many such applications. And I think that's where many a times it plays an important role in selection of iPaaS by enterprises. I think in the first question itself, I talked a little bit about complexity of the integrations, and I think there are certain factors that contributes to it. But when it comes to iPaaS, I think they are addressing a lot of them very well. And I think in the interest of time, I'll not go in details, but let's look at maybe a couple of them quickly. So one of the factors that contributes to the complexity is number of transactions that needs to be processed by these integrations. Now, iPaaS helps address this aspect very effectively because if you sort of look at different iPaaS options that are available today, scalability is provided out of the box in by most of them, and um, and so that's like on the first part of it. The second important aspect, I think, is about the type of data sources that needs to be supported. Now, it can be in the form of different databases, API protocols, or the API types, import export capabilities, and so on. Now, iPaaS provides support for all such 60 plus data sources out of the box. Now, these are some of the key benefits, I would say. Some other benefits that this platform brings are like the speed at which these connectors can be built, monitoring capabilities, access control, data security, hosting options, and so on. I mean, there are so many of them that they bring. In a nutshell, I think if done right, iPaaS brings a lot of value to the table and have already helped many enterprises in addressing their integration needs quite effectively.
So, Mahesh, all the examples that you just mentioned, I noticed that they were especially for the HR domain. How can an enterprise justify this investment if it is only for HR?
Jome, I think you brought up a very good point here. And I would like to say that iPaaS platforms, they are not restricted to a specific domain or use case, though I sort of elaborated it more through the HR use cases. I remember recently we implemented an integration strategy based on iPaaS for a big enterprise. And what we did there is we integrated many applications like CRM tools, HR applications, learning platform, and even collaboration tools like Microsoft Teams and Zoom together using iPaaS solution. So the good part here is a lot of control and configurable options that exist in these platforms that allows even business users to set up workflows and integrate between them. So that's where I think it's pretty simple if you ask me. I mean, it's not really restricted to a domain or a type of application to say.
Yeah, and honestly, it could be quite a relief too for enterprises. I especially remember the constant struggle to find the right workflow, the right data entities, and even the right APIs for that matter for getting an integration to work. So, do you have any tips for such an enterprise while selecting, integration platform over a service over the regular point-to-point or open source platform related integrations?
Jomi, I think the selection is primarily driven by a specific set of requirements on an integration scenario. But I can definitely share certain observations where we have seen iPaaS making more sense or where they have used more often when it comes to the integration or the integration use cases. So I think to start with, if there's a need to integrate applications that are used across the organizations, you would definitely want to consider iPaaS as one of the options. Then if there's a need for large volume of data that needs to be transferred between these applications, then again, iPaaS is a good option to consider. Availability of the integration platform. I think if that's a mission critical point for your integration problems or the requirements, then you go for it. Another one is the inbuilt support for data security and support for related standards, best practices is something you need out of the box, then iPaaS definitely help. On commercial front, I think if there are no major budget constraints or if you're okay with going for a premium support fees, then even iPaaS makes a lot of sense.
That's an interesting perspective. So what I hear you say is that there are three basic options. One is the build option that you build everything from scratch. And there's open source tools out there which you can implement. And then there's this emerging iPaaS as an option, which seems to be getting very popular, and enterprises are choosing that as a go-to method. Of course, based on the criteria that we just mentioned, specifically considering that there will be non-tech folks. So specifically from an enterprise implementing iPaaS, do you have any specific advice for them in addition to what you just mentioned?
Sure, Shrikant. I think one of the basic thing to start with is understanding each and every feature that is there on offer and map it back to your exact requirements. Many a times what we have seen happening is that enterprises end up with purchasing capabilities that are not even required, or sometimes they are not even relevant to the given scheme of things. So it is important to spend enough time on defining an integration strategy as per your own needs and not to drive it by what an iPaaS offers as a platform. And I think that's where at Harbinger we have helped several of our enterprise customers in finding the best suited iPaaS solutions to address the integration requirements they had.
True. I think the last answer just brought it all together, especially when you spoke about having a scalable integration strategy to make sure that your enterprise is not just ready for the digital transformation that you have planned, but even for future HR tech systems that you have planned to build in your enterprise. And iPaaS solutions are especially important part of your strategy if you don't have specialized integration experts at your disposal. So I hope that has helped answer some of the queries that you may have in your mind about integration approaches. And if you have any questions, feel free to write to us at consulting@harbingergroup.com, or you could also you can also write to us via in the comment box below, and we'll try our best to answer all your questions. And a special thank you to Shrikant and Mahesh for their time in this point of view. And I hope you enjoyed listening to this as much as we enjoyed talking about this with you. Thank you so much, and stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.